Let me get my eyeball.
Oh, there you go. She's like, I'm 2 knuckles deep in my eye, Joel. What are you doing starting the show?
God, my allergies are so bad right now. I need my inhaler. I'm like, fucking nerd over here.
We are the Articulate Coven, the unofficial fan podcast and community for Anne Rice's Immortal universe, and it is that time of year where we react to San Diego Comic-Con interviews.
The gift that keeps giving.
There's so many of them. The cast and crew
gift.
of that's genuinely. I do wonder sometimes, like, I know there's a whole industry built on it, right? First of all, it's good for us. Our YouTube channel is up like 75, 80 people in the last week or so, honestly.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's great. But I know all of these outlets that we're watching their interviews. First of all, these interviewers, this is like a major part of their yearly job is to go do a bunch of these sessions in a day or two.
Very big deal.
Yeah. So it's interesting that it's not just good information for us, but there's like a whole little cottage industry.
Yeah, everybody's like busy right now. You know, my favorite YouTubers that I follow that are Disney YouTubers had a little booth and did a signing at Comic-Con this year. I was so like,
that's fun.
Look at you, Ordinary Adventures, kick ass.
That's very fun. All right, let's go check out this next interview. This is from Collider at San Diego Comic-Con 25. Let's see who's on the panel. Oh, the full lineup again. This is everybody that was there on the panel, basically.
Yep.
Excited for the endless creative possibilities you all have with season 3. And I cannot wait to dig into them all. Mark and Roland, you'll get my first question here because, again, the source material that you're adapting lets you take look last time too. I had a feeling you can take some really big swings with that. Can you tell me a little bit about taking those big swings, but also still making sure all 3 seasons of your show feel cohesive enough?
Who wants cohesion? Why would you go for that? After you've gone and you purchased Interview with a Vampire. Oh, you loved it. I'm going back to that bookstore again. I'm going to get the next book. You read that, you're like, what just happened? We are following Anne's lead, and we're going full throttle that way. A little bit of whiplash, a little bit of people like catching up to the tone of it, but it'll be confident and it'll be wild and it'll feel like what the title is, Vampire Lestat. It will not feel like the 2 old guys sitting in a room trying to figure stuff out. No. It's going to be on the back of Lestat, living like Lestat, embracing like Lestat, and it'll be contradictory and hallucinogenic and strange and wild. That's what you should hear.
Fuck yes.
It's a totally different book in tone. This season should feel totally different in tone.
Yeah,
we're moving to Lestat's point of view, POV. Like everything should feel very different in tone. I'm very excited for it.
And there's no doubt about it. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard on everybody. It's going to be hard on the fans of the show, especially. It's going to be hard on AMC to figure out how to market it and how to get this all across. How do you tile it in your library on your streaming service? Do you put it with interview, et cetera, et cetera? Like, how do you sort this out? I don't know. But there are a bunch of people that get paid a lot of money to answer all of those questions and figure all those things out. And how do you reach the fandom, et cetera, et cetera? How do you make sure everybody knows that it's coming back and that it's the same show, but it's going to be different? And that the tone change isn't permanent, but also it sort of is. And also it's all still good. And Jacob's not going anywhere.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Hard questions.
It's a lot to unpack for everyone, but I think everyone will be on board. Yeah. Yes. These guys, Jesus, he carries that book around like a Bible. Bless his heart.
Rightfully so.
Appreciate those keywords. Like wild and whiplash does really speak to me.
I mean, the fact that he carries this book around, that you saw it last year and 2 years before that, shows you his reverence for Anne Rice. And no matter how wild, how surprisingly this season is from the last, it is still very much in the Anne Rice, and it has all of the spirit of her writing.
I love to hear it.
It also shows you Rollins' disregard for a book jacket.
Oh,
well loved, or I've taken it in strange places, in rooms
it's a
that shouldn't be.
paperback.
So you could read that one way or the other. It's only 2 extremes right there. I'll stick
A book is a consumable, Ashley, and I'm going to stand on that one and fight somebody about it. A book is a consumable.
Unless it's like, I mean, like if it's a first edition.
You got a first edition, then you're not reading that one. You're not carrying that one around. That's on the shelf. Yeah,
right.
Sure.
That's on the shelf. That's a shelf book. But like books are to be read.
Yes.
Now you don't hoard them. I hoard them. You see, that's where we are wrong. No, I need them. I need them.
I do think unless you genuinely revisit, and it's the reason why I have moved fully to digital is because I feel like I need them as well. But they're in my app. I pull them up in the thing, just like. Honestly, it's the reason why I moved to digital movies too, instead of the giant box of DVDs and Blu-rays that I had. I got divorced, I don't know, 12 years ago, and I sold 600 DVDs.
Everything. When I was like,
so many.
He's selling that Aerosmith box set.
It's a giant, massive collection of CDs and DVDs. I wasn't even counting the CD. I had the Box of Fire from Aerosmith. Yeah, absolutely did. Anyway,
that's one of the reasons. Like, I knew you and I were going to be friends forever was because the first time I went to your apartment, I saw that fucking box set, and I was like, "Oh, Joel and I are going to get along just fine."
I got the Box of Fire for Christmas. That was like my big Christmas present one year. I was, I don't know, maybe 16 or 17, whenever it came out. Anyway, this thing though, this makes me think that like, yes, that good. First of all, good for Mark for owning up to that, but also the entire idea of this shift is natural in the text. It makes me think we've got Raglan James in the series now. If we get to Tale of the Body Thief, there's a big shift in tone for that one too. It's like supernatural Indiana Jones kind of type adventure almost.
So fun. Like that book is such a good time. Yeah.
Man. All right. I'm excited by that.
Stick with the two of you, but Sam and Jacob, I'll loop you in on this particular question also, because in seasons 1 and 2, it is largely portrayed through Louis's perspective of Lestat. And Sam, I was reading a quote that you had gave where you said they're both unreliable narrators in their own way. So now that we're getting his perspective more, I was really curious. Can you tell me how the two of them are unreliable narrators, but in their own unique ways?
I think also when I said that, often we talk about unreliable narrators, and what it means sometimes is people can be like, well, Louis just lied, and you just spent, 2 years watching this show that's all a lie. And I just think that's not really what was ever the intention.
I think the idea of an unreliable narrator speaks even more to a character's truth than anything.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I think so. I think that's more is that I think both, and Roland will be able to answer this better than me, but I think that both Louis and Lestat, when they are narrating and when they are telling their story, are unreliable or not necessarily forthcoming about the truth, but they have different reasons to do so. And Lestat is different to Louis, and when he does withhold or when you don't necessarily believe what he's saying, it's for a different reason than what Louis might be doing. And I think so whether or not it remains as a device or whether we let that device go because now we're kind of going into different territories, I just think it's basically based on the fact that these are different people and they have different intentions.
Yeah. Well, and you experience different people experience the same thing in very different ways, and when you deal with grief, like they had to deal with losing Claudia, when you deal with anger, when you deal with whatever, like you have different reactions to that. The stories of our past relationships from a different mouth are very different than what we tell,
Well, and there's even, and maybe this is less so for vampires once they're turned, but definitely for humans, we know this is the case. When you recall a memory, your brain fills in holes that are not there in the data anymore, right? They patch it. I mean, effectively, like we see a LLM, it puts the most logical thing in between the two pieces that it's connecting, right?
Right.
And so when you recall a memory a dozen times, you might have rewritten. It's a Ship of Theseus situation all of a sudden. Like, is it the original memory at all? How much have you rewritten? Also, even already in the show, though, we have seen one way in which Lestat withholds or tells a version of the truth to Louis and a specific reason for it. He tells of his origin and never mentions Marius, right? Why?
Yeah.
We know as book readers is because Marius swore him not to. Said, I'll kill you if you ever do. You can't talk about these things that you've experienced in your time with me or the things that I've told you.
Right. Whereas all of that to Louis seems like he knows shit about us and he won't share it with me. He knows about our history. He knows about vampires and where we come from. And he knows more than I do and he won't tell me. And I can't find this information anywhere else right now.
The thing that interests me the most, I think, about that unreliable narrator part is that we've already seen 2 versions of Louis' story in the show. His interview in the 70s is more pointed at Lestat, and it's Lestat's fault, and everything was Lestat's fault, and I did no wrong, and etc. His vision of it in the 2020s with Daniel as an older man now is already a different story.
Yeah.
He's still telling certain parts of it wrong because of various things that come up.
Yeah, exactly, because some of that has to do with fucking Armand fucking with his fucking head.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, how many times can I say fucking one sentence?
No. But and it's the same thing in the book. In the novel, in the novel Interview with the Vampire, in the novel's world, Louis's reason for writing that is sort of to put it all off on Lestat. And blame it all on Lestat, which is why Lestat reacts the way that he does in his novel.
No.
Yeah.
And also, don't call me dumb. Don't call me I'm not dumb. That's so funny.
It's interesting to me that already we've gotten teases that Louis also is going to be unhappy with the book as presented by Daniel in this world now a little bit. Whereas in the novel world, Louis seems perfectly pleased with the way that all turned out.
Yeah, it just seems fine. It's just something I did one night. It's an interview. I did an interview.
Yeah, that time I wrote a book. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't write it. He wrote it. I just talked about it.
That kid wrote it. That kid wrote it.
Vampires, not people, but
This is making me think of a question I ask every once in a while, because the idea of an unreliable narrator or seeing something specifically through someone else's eyes is making me think of this. Sometimes I'll ask actors what seemingly small everyday thing that human beings do is the most difficult to replicate on set. And I always say things like fake sneezing and fake driving, but someone recently told me that one of the most challenging things is, not necessarily lying, but I guess having a lie speak to your own personal truth. And that was just making me think of how you were explaining that.
That is really complicated to do, because you also have to, is the character a good liar? And then also you could just flat out lie, because acting is basically just lying anyway. So you could just do that, but then you don't get to show that there's something behind. But I actually think the hardest thing to do on camera is basic things like opening doors and walking through.
True.
Brushing your teeth.
No, brushing your teeth is actually kind of complex thing and easy to do because you can do a lot of it. It's more about
brushing your teeth is like eating. We've talked about this before. It's so easy to be a naturalistic actor while you're eating. It's so easy to be a naturalistic actor brushing your teeth because it is.
But I had to get out of a car and walk across a driveway the other day, and it was for some reason I was I don't know how to move my limbs anymore. I was so awkward. I was this is so dumb. This is walking.
Coming on and off stage is, to me, always the hardest thing to do as an actor. Your entrances and your exits, because honestly, I think it's the cheat of a character like Kramer, right? Is that he gets to slide in like a cartoon character.
Right. And then he doesn't have to deal with the fuckery of opening a door.
You never have to be naturalistic opening a door. Exactly. It's so hard to do. He's spot on there. He's spot on.
About you want the characters to look cool. And they need to kind of particularly vampires, they need to glide through space. They need to do everything bam, 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 bam without any issue. And sometimes, you're in 4-inch Cuban heels and kind of big flowy things, and you're carrying somebody, or you've got stick-on nails, or you can't see, or, you're gonna catch something that's being thrown at you by somebody from, all this kind of very, very basic things like opening doors and getting out of cars. They are hard. They are hard to do. Cool.
He said the thing, Ashley.
He said the thing I just said. Getting out of a car. God.
Ashley, Sam Reed, same but different.
We have the same struggles.
Isn't it? It is nice to know, though, that these two people at the top of their industry right now, and just firing all cylinders, as creatives still do struggle with simple things like that.
I mean,
like,
my
it's
God,
like,
yeah.
It's just hard being a
hard.
simple move as
being
an
a
actor.
human being is hard.
And in the editing room, we sort of have like a math equation about letting vampires be vampire cool for about 8 out of 10 takes, and then 2, like, get the mistakes. You walk into the Parisian apartment and you throw keys, and they fell off, and somebody in VFX like got rid of it. I was like, "What are you doing?" No, vampires can fuck up and miss the table or whatever, and we keep that in.
I like that approach.
Something I'll say about Rollin, which is amazing, is when that happened, you were like, "How do you feel about that? Are you okay with the keys dropping, or like, do you think that would you like Louis to have like killed that?" And I was like, "Yeah, Rollin always gives us like real ownership and creative."
They know it.
They
know the role better than we do now.
Biting a neck is hard. Biting a neck, getting ready to bite a neck and waiting for action as your mouth is on the person's neck and the action is taking forever because they're adjusting one more light. It's very intimate, neck biting. It's more intimate than kissing, actually.
I love how I'm going to follow up this more playful look at your work with something a little heavier here, just to dig into how your characters have evolved from season 1 to season 3. Can you each tell me something about your approach to playing your character that has stayed consistent from season to season to season, but also something that you had to do for your season 3 storyline that demanded a first?
It's a complex question. That's really, this is one of the better interviewers I've seen so far.
I want these guys to go on hot ones.
Yeah, right. So I have said already, anytime one of these people at San Diego Comic-Con have a gimmick for part of their interview, at least, I think that's a good call. Because again, it's a way to elicit the. I don't watch it religiously, but I have watched when I have a great person.
He is the fucking best interviewer. Like his
very
researchers,
talented.
researchers, they find the best questions.
But it's the whole point of that thing from the very beginning. Like now, everybody goes on it because it's such a big show. It's such a giant outlet. But the point of it from the beginning was that you're disarming people, right? It's like we talked about. You and I were talking about off air a minute ago about hiccups, right? Like you got to come sideways and attack the hiccupy. Same thing with an interviewee. If you want to get somebody off kilter a little bit and get a true response, not a PR filtered response, give them a hot sauce bottle.
Yeah, it works.
The thing that has stayed consistent, is like it's very hard. This show's so different every single season, and we're in a different place every single season. And the books change, and everything. I mean, what's stayed consistent? I guess like we're all still here. So yeah, I mean,
I like that consistency.
Seeing the same people and turning up to work and it being the same people going like, what are we doing this year? Like, what's happening now? Like, where are we? I suppose that's a consistency, and it's a very one thing I'm incredibly grateful for. The thing that has changed this year, I mean, for Lestat, is like the music. It's like getting music before getting a script is a real mind.
Fuck.
Because like
I love it when they self-edit for these.
I know.
Daniel said something in one the other day, like Daniel at the beginning of season 1 was just waiting around on nothing, and I was like, what you wanted to say, Daniel, was waiting around to die. He was waiting around to die.
Right, but you can't say that.
Yeah, you don't want to say that, exactly. Yeah, Sam self-edited there. I love it. But no, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. That's where it is.
I'd never done that before. So it was a really complicated way to start a character, because without context, music is incredibly subjective, but also, like how do you connect? What is the context of this? And I kept saying this, like, where did this come from? Like, why is he doing this? And then slowly, as the context came in, but I'm having to learn these songs, I'm having to record them, and poor Daniel was being incredibly patient, being like, why don't you, it's this and this and this. I was like, I need to know. But then as this context comes in, they sort of open up, and you just see like how incredibly brilliant this music actually is. It's just that I was kind of naive to be able to fully understand it, but I had to learn the mathematics of these songs, which are, you know, incredibly complex. I mean, Daniel Hart's an incredibly talented songwriter and musician, and he writes gigantic songs. Like, you know, like they are mega songs. And Roland also writes mega text, but I've been used to that. So it's been a big change, but super fun, super fun.
Okay, first of all, that was an excellent answer. It was very hard for me to concentrate at all, though, because I suddenly noticed Sam's boots and became very, very fascinated with those amazing footwear.
I have been watching his feet for quite a while now. Yeah. He's dressed so well. His stylist needs that. Mwah.
I love that they're both in black. That Jacob and Sam are both in black, all black. Also, like Jacob's in this like linen looking thing, top and bottom.
Yeah.
Which is so Louis, and Sam's got the fringe on the jacket.
Yeah. Yeah. Bogosian needs to get out of the frumpy suit. You're a hottie, Bogosian. Get yourself in some leather.
I do agree he needs a better coat, but I kind of love that for Daniel as well, because he's still showing up to work, right? At this point, we think in the series he's still being a journalist, right?
True that.
Yeah.
True
Even
that.
though he's a vampire now.
I don't know.
Into your collaboration in a moment.
I can just also say the consistent thing, and this is for all three actors that are sitting here, is the multitudes of takes that you get and the wild attacks that they do not replicate. I'll give it to you this way. I'll give it to you this way. I'll give it to you this way. And that has stayed consistent and has made our job in post very, very fun, thrilling, and easy.
Yet another consistency I like quite a bit. I'll roll with that for both of you. Can you tell me an acting first you had to do in season 3, given where your characters are going story-wise?
No, I can't. But
so Jacob hasn't filmed anything yet. Jacob
hasn't filmed anything. Yeah, they were like, I hope you get to join us earlier.
Yeah, he talked about that earlier, that he's still sort of like watching from the sidelines right now so far, which, I mean, that does make me a little worried about how long they're going to tease Lou. I think it's probably more of like a set location and
it's
what
scheduling.
They've been prioritizing.
I don't think we don't need to stress about anything like that right now, because it is going to be like the filming schedule is what it is because of necessity.
Yeah, I think so too.
Also, he's hanging out there while they're filming. That's the cutest shit on earth. I love it when actors do that. Like, I'm having so much fun. I know I'm not on the call sheet today, but I kind of just want to fucking hang out and see what's happening.
Well, and he knows where it's at, right? Like it's going down over there. Like, I want to be there with him. I want to be part of the vibe and like start soaking it up to get back into that.
All that'll inform his performance too. So that's good.
100%.
But what I would say as well about Louis, that is a thing that's always been consistent for me, at least, is that like he's a searcher.
First of all, that is a very generous read on Book Louis, I would say, right? That he's a searcher.
I love that. I think that is true.
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah, I like that. And I have a soft spot in my heart for Louis. I always have. Because he's just like a depressive that just wants to read his books.
But I mean, genuinely, and we've talked about it on the show. He searched for family and acceptance and purpose as a human, and then in his early vampiric life, he searched for answers to what was vampirism and what was his place in the cosmos and his religion and faith, and is there an afterlife and where did we come from? What does it all mean? You know, like
having a lot of complex questions about your existence is pretty fucking normal. I feel like, and I think to be someone, I mean, and Lestat does that too. To act like he doesn't is ridiculous. I mean, he fucking buried himself in the ground for a while repeatedly. So
he traveled all over the world, scratching into walls.
Trying to find Marius.
Please call me. Yeah. Tell me what happened and where we all came from and what it's all about.
I have acted pathetic for cute boys sometimes, but I haven't ever done that, you know.
I think you and I have talked on the podcast before about how we've both chased a mentor, though. So,
yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
I'm going to come back to the music now. I want to pose this question to both of you, Sam and Daniel. And I love this question because I always ask it to acting scene partners. And it's so exciting to me that I could reword it in a way that suits an actor and a composer. Can you each tell me something about the other, I guess as a scene partner in a sense, that helped you unlock something in your own work that you wouldn't have been able to find without him?
Oh, that's
I
a
wrote
good one.
these songs
He's like,
starting at the
immediately
beginning of the
I have
writer's
an
room
answer.
process. And I was doing it mostly locked away in my own space. I was still in the writer's room complex, but I had my own little room, and I would go in there and I would tinker and I would toy. And then I would go home and I would tinker and I would toy more in my own little space at home. And so I did that for quite a long time before Sam and I started talking about how we would approach the songs together, which meant that for all of the songs, I sang Lestat's part on the demos as an example of what it could be. And then I started sending those to Sam. And then Sam started putting it into his own mind. And as he said, trying to find context for what these lyrics were, why Lestat would say things that's being said in these songs, what they meant to him, what they meant in the larger storytelling. And so having his voice come in and replace my voice, I've never been so grateful to have my own voice replaced. Having Sam come in and start singing everything himself and hearing his approach to the songs and just hearing his voice, because he has a great voice, changed the way that I started writing songs from that point. I started writing songs knowing his voice better than I had beforehand, and so I could do things that would sort of play to his strengths, or at least try to. But Sam is right. I'm a fairly unforgiving songwriter, and I did push him at the top of his range quite a lot, just over and over and over again. Because like Rollin, I'm a bit of a maximalist when it comes to songwriting.
I swear to God, I've heard Paul Simon say something like that about Art Garfunkel before, that, you know, he had an idea of a song and then Art would sing it and would find something new in it. And then Paul began to write music with Art's voice in mind, this like perfect, beautiful.
And then begin to resent him for that later as well.
I mean,
I
to
had the
be
privilege.
fair, they're both appropriately angry at each other. I think if you want to break
100%.
that down,
No,
like
no,
neither
no,
one
no.
of they.
That was just a wee joke.
It was a peanut butter and jelly situation, and both of them are fine separately. But goddamn it, a PB&J is nice.
So much better. It's so much better. Actually, was really, really lucky for about 5 years when I worked for the Arkansas Art Center Children's Theater. I was a full-time company actor there for like 4 or 5 years. It was such a great, fun job. We were all a bunch of just young actors in our 20s, like making no money, but like it was a company. So you're working with the same people all the time, which is fucking unheard of in theater in general these days. And so we had a composer, an in-house composer named Lori Eisner, who was just fucking brilliant. And then when I auditioned for her, she was like, "Oh my!" I sang a song from a musical. I sang 16 bars from a musical, and I sang 16 classical bars, because that's what David Wiley would have wanted me to do.
You damn straight he would have.
And I finished the classical piece, and she goes, "Oh, you're classically trained." And from that moment on, she went bananas and started writing, like, would rewrite songs in existing shows that they had already done to make the songs harder and more interesting, because she knew I could handle it. And it was so fun working with her. Like, that's such a fucking cool gift and experience to get to have that most actors will never ever get to experience.
It's not unlike, I would imagine, a great director. Like, think of like John Ford the first time he saw Panavision, right? Or something like that, right? You know, and he's like, "Oh, gee, wait a minute. I could shoot it in 70 millimeter. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
let's do. I know what I'm going to do with that now." Or okay, we recently watched and we've got an episode coming up about Shadow of the Vampire, which is about the early part of cinema. But we've talked before about the transition from like silent films to talkies, right?
Right.
Anytime there's a revolution, anytime you get a new crayon, it's not just one extra color, right? It's all of the things that come from the addition to the palette.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, you can mix that color with a ton of other colors. It's wonderful.
Exactly.
Magic.
That's what they're talking about here. I love it. I love that idea.
How about from your perspective?
I would say that like there's more. Daniel has managed to pull more depth out of the character that I didn't know was there. Particularly towards the end of the season, I was kind of like sort of gobsmacked, and I'm continued to be gobsmacked every time I approach some of these songs. Yeah, I think like you play a character for a while, you seem to know it. You've read the books, you knew the character from the books, and then you know Ron's adaptation, and then you have another writer coming in and adding another layer to the character, and you learn more about it. So I feel like I learned a lot about the character through Dennis' music.
I got to wind down with y'all soon. I'll squeeze in 2 more questions here. One for the 3 of you that is kind of inspired by something that's come up frequently throughout the show's run during our interviews. Very straightforward question. At this point in their journeys, what does it mean to each of them to be a vampire?
I think for Louis, it means like a kind of like a coming together of all of the parts of him. It's like he's at least now he's like he is the most complete version of himself that he's ever been. He's like found a level of like inner peace. At least.
He's not saying it, but he actualized. Louis actualized.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like finally, it took him 150 years or whatever, but
he wasn't ready, bless his heart.
Not 150. When he was 1910, he was only like 30. So yeah, like 130 or whatever.
For now. And like a sense of belonging, I guess, and a sense of like I am what
I'm a fucking vampire.
And I'm okay with that.
Well, but not just a vampire, but I am a hustler. I'm an entrepreneur, right? We know Louis has, unlike book Louis really, Louis in the show has built a tremendous amount of wealth for himself over these years. He's been an investor in all these different things. He's an art collector.
Right. He doesn't have to just like take money from Lestat. He's not also a kept boy.
He is an out gay man of color, like fully owning all of those identities in a way that he has not always in his mortal life or even in his vampiric life. Also fully owning that he's a vampire now in a way that he hadn't necessarily previously. Yeah.
But like I say, that most likely won't last forever.
I like how the answer to this question changed away.
You want to go?
I'll just say, I think it's around these guys, and he wants to be one of them, which is a total can't be one of them. But by being a vampire, he's now in the club. I mean, his life was kind of going nowhere prior to getting invited to Dubai. So now he gets to. There's been this gravitational pull of these characters, and so now he gets to party with them the way they party. Except that's not going to work either.
It's like everything right now. I don't think he's allowed himself any space or time to think what he would be if he wasn't this thing that he is now. It's almost like anything that he was previously and anything that he will be in the future is veiled under the glass box of vampirism, which is actually quite a fragile box, but he doesn't know that yet.
That's a brilliant take. Also, he's right. But all the things we just said about Louis at this point with Jacob's answer, Lestat is none of those. Lestat is not fully actualized. Lestat has not resolved his past with Claudia. Lestat has not resolved his past with Louis. Lestat has not resolved his relationship with his mother.
With his mother, yeah.
Right?
He's got a lot of work to do. Our guy could use some therapy.
Lestat's just getting on the couch. Louis was there for 2 years with Daniel, right? Yeah, I mean, not really, but it's a week and a half in Dubai or whatever before they wrote the book. Yeah, it's crazy to think about that we still got this whole road to go down.
I'm so excited.
Can't wait to see that headspace play out on screen in the finished product. I would love to pose this last question to all of you. We don't really have time, so you're going to get the honors right now. Big question. It's a question that I've gotten in the habit of asking quite a bit lately because it feels like in film and television we give each other awards, and that's super cool. I think that
I'm going to give her the one critique. Her preambles are always too long. She could have cut this interview by 5 minutes.
Gotten more info.
Exactly.
Themselves good job as much as they should. So can you tell me something you and your team accomplished making season 3 of this show that you know you're always going to look back on and say, I am real damn proud of what we did there?
This is a wild leap from book 1 to book 2. And there was within my mind, but from outside sources too, a lot of nervousness about following her lead in that way. Most shows, they want you to repilot it, give them the thing that they gave them last year because it worked so great, the thing last year, and that there's a set of artists on our show that would have been very disappointed if we had tried to do that. And everybody's sort of taking a real risk this year. And it's always a risk. You're on that train, you're going to leap off, and there is a bunch of places down there on the ground that could just end in failure. And it's really, really inspiring and really cool. So not only that, they're also really, really excellent people too. It's like, there's no assholes and no divas on our show. And so doing this sort of very, very aggressive, wild thing that we're attempting this year, and that everybody is on board and enthusiastic about it, it makes me feel really cool as a middle-aged artist at this point. You feel young again, and that's what I feel proud about.
Okay, I'm going to give credit where credit is due, because I know a lot of people in the fandom are upset that Christopher and Anne left this project before it really got off the ground. And then, of course, Anne passed away before it could come to fruition. But Christopher is not involved in this AMC project at all, really. Christopher Rice, her son. And he seems to be contractually obligated not to really say anything about it at all, which implies that he wouldn't say nice things necessarily. Here's where they would have screwed up, in my opinion, and they being Christopher and Anne when they were running things at Hulu. They were going to start with Lestat.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to have to make this shift. If you told Lestat's story from the start, and then if you processed from there into Queen of the Damned and then on into Tale of the Body Thief is a tone shift, but it is not the drastic tone shift from the sort of dour and serious and weighty issues of
Gothic
Louis.
horror, Yeah.
Right? The fairly traditional take on vampires in many ways, to I'm a rock star. I got to tell the world who I am so that they can battle me.
But you can't skip the beginning.
No, you really can't. It's all of a piece. You don't get to Lestat if you don't go through Louis' grief.
Yeah.
And Lestat doesn't have the impetus to rise from the grave and become a rock star and tell the world the truth about himself.
Louis talking shit.
Nobody comes out and gives you all of their dirty laundry unless their ex has already tried to spill it, right? Right?
True that.
Yeah, man. That's just nobody shows you their text messages first. Right? It's the I'm going to show you the receipts so their lie is proven wrong, but
I'm not offering this up.
You
don't want to see the conversation from the beginning.
Exactly.
What about right now?
Beautiful answer, and it bookended our conversation quite nicely. I have to let you on your way. You have a lot more promoting and celebrating to do. I'm going to say in advance, huge congratulations on season 3. So excited to see all those risks and those big swings play out. I know you're all going to crush it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am too. I know that they're gonna. I feel confident in this season. Yeah.
All this is doing is making me more excited.
Yes, that's exactly it. I can't get any more hyped, honestly, about this. I say that's not true. We've still got a few casting announcements left, probably
there.
To come.
And we haven't gotten a
the big
proper
one.
release of the teaser trailer they released at Comic-Con.
Yeah, that's probably we'll get that first. Then we'll get the panel itself. Then we'll get. I still think we're probably going to get a Kasha casting before the series.
If those assholes wait until October for that, I'm going to be so pissed. Not the Akasha
for the
thing.
teaser.
They can wait forever. Yeah, if they wait for the teaser and the Comic-Con thing until then, I'm going to burn my house down. No, not my own house. I'll burn someone else's house down.
I'll burn someone else's house down. I'm fairly certain last year that we got the AMC releases of the panels in August. I'm fairly certain.
That's
so
fine.
that's
That's
my
this month. That's now.
Yeah, that's my hope. That's my hope. And then that gives us plenty of time to tease and lead into. And then what I would do if I was AMC, I'd give the panel first, and then I'd give the actual trailer.
I would
in full quality afterwards. Is it in the panel? They do it at the panel.
It's in the
Okay,
panel.
well,
yeah, it's in the panel.
But
I mean,
I guess you got to release them at the same time then.
Well, I mean, or just either way, who cares? Just give it to us.
Give it to me, baby.
We're ready.
When they give it to us, you'll find our reactions to it right here on the channel.
100%.
Subscribe on YouTube. If you're in a position to support our work and you're enjoying what we're doing, check us out on Patreon, articulatecoven.com/join. $2 or more a month gets you access to everything we do early and ad-free. I'm going to pester Ashley this week to do a couple of reactions herself.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do a couple more too, and we'll keep these things rolling. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back with more soon here on the Articulate Coven.
Bye.